You can hear it, can't you? That rhythmic, steady clicking of bone on bone. If you're the only one in the room who hears it, I'm sorry. It means SCP-4975 has already chosen you, and your time is almost up. Item number SCP-4975. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-4975 is to be contained in a standard reinforced containment cell at Site 19. It is to be provided with one deceased calf carcass every 30 days. In the event of a containment breach, personnel are instructed not to attempt to locate the entity through sound.
Since its anomalous properties make physical containment only partially effective at preventing its predatory cycle, containment focuses on the monitoring of potential victims. If a Foundation staff member or a civilian reports hearing a rhythmic clicking sound that cannot be attributed to an external source, they are to be placed under 24-hour surveillance.
If the clicking stops, the subject is to be considered a lost cause. No attempt to intervene is likely to succeed, as the entity's feeding process ignores most physical barriers.
Description: SCP-4975 is a sapient, humanoid entity with avian characteristics. It stands approximately 2.1 meters tall. Its body is extremely emaciated, consisting of pale, leathery skin stretched tight over a skeletal structure that does not match any known living organism. It lacks a respiratory system, a digestive tract, or any internal organs besides a simplified nervous system and a heart. Its head is avian in shape, resembling a cuckoo bird, but it lacks feathers and possesses a long, sharp beak. The entity's most notable feature is its neck. The cervical vertebrae are disconnected from one another, held together only by a series of tough, elastic tendons. This allows SCP-4975 to rotate its head 360 degrees continuously. As it does so, the vertebrae grind against each other, creating a rhythmic, metallic clicking sound. This clicking is the primary indicator of SCP-4975's predatory cycle. The sound is not audible to the general public or recording equipment. It is only audible to the specific individual SCP-4975 has designated as its next prey. The cycle typically lasts between several weeks and several months. During this period, the victim will hear the clicking constantly, regardless of their distance from SCP-4975's physical location. The entity itself will remain stationary in its containment cell, continuing its neck rotation. However, as the cycle nears its end, the entity will gradually stop its rotation. When the clicking stops, the hunt has ended. At this moment, the victim is physically attacked by SCP-4975. The horror of this anomaly lies in the fact that the attack occurs regardless of where the entity is physically located. Even while SCP-4975 is visible within its containment cell at Site 19, its victim, who may be thousands of miles away, will be physically dismembered and consumed by an invisible force. Observations of the entity during this feeding phase show it going through the motions of eating and tearing flesh in its empty cell, while the distant victim suffers the corresponding injuries in real time. Once the victim is fully consumed, SCP-4975 resumes its neck rotation and a new clicking sound begins for a new target. The following is an archived account from the Black Forest in Germany. dating back to the late 19th century. It is believed to be one of the earliest recorded encounters with SCP-4975, long before the Foundation secured the entity. The local folklore spoke of the Zeit is or Time's Up bird. According to the journals of a local school teacher, a young boy in the village began complaining about a clatter in his ears. He described it as a rhythmic ticking, like a clock with a broken heart.
He told his parents that a thin, naked bird man was watching him from the edge of the woods. The villagers looked, but they saw nothing. The boy's father, thinking his son was suffering from a fever, kept him locked in his bedroom for safety.
For 4 months, the boy lived in terror, clutching his ears and screaming that the ticking was getting louder. Then, one evening, during dinner, the boy suddenly went silent. He looked at his father and said, "The clock stopped." Seconds later, the boy was jerked into the air by his neck. His family watched in horror as his skin began to tear away in invisible strips. They heard the sound of bones snapping and the wet crunch of teeth on gristle, but they saw nothing but their son being pulled apart in the middle of the room. When the attack was over, there was nothing left of the boy but a few scraps of his shirt and a pool of blood on the floor.
The Foundation's current containment of SCP-4975 began in 2002, following a series of similar disappearances in the same region of Germany. Despite being held in a lead-shielded, high-security cell, the entity's ability to reach out to its targets has remained unimpeded.
Addendum 4975.A, Incident Report 04-12. On December 12th, researcher Dr. Eris Thorne reported a persistent auditory hallucination. He described it as a rhythmic clicking sound, occurring at a rate of approximately 60 beats per minute. Dr. Thorne, who was a lead researcher on the SCP-4975 project, immediately recognized the symptoms and reported himself to Site-19 security. Dr. Thorne was placed in a high-security observation suite. Over the next 3 weeks, Dr. Thorne's psychological state deteriorated. Day 7. The sound is constant. It's not just in my ears, it's in my teeth. Every time the bone clicks, I feel a vibration in my jaw.
Day 14. I've tried drowning it out. White noise, heavy metal, earplugs. Nothing works. The clicking is internal. It's part of my nervous system now. I haven't slept more than 10 minutes at a time. I keep dreaming about a forest with no leaves, where the trees are made of ribs.
Day 21. I can see it now. Even when I close my eyes, it's standing in the corner of the observation room. The guards say the room is empty. They say the thermal cameras show nothing, but I can see its pale skin. On the 24th day at 03:14 a.m., the security feed of Dr. Thorne's room showed him sitting on the floor, staring at the corner. Simultaneously, the feed from SCP-4975's containment cell showed the entity slowing its neck rotation.
At 03:15 a.m., SCP-4975 stopped moving entirely. On Dr. Thorne's feed, he stood up and backed away from the corner, his face contorted in a scream that no one could hear because he was suddenly seized by the throat. His body was lifted off the ground.
Through the observation glass, the guards saw Dr. Thorne's torso burst open. Large, invisible chunks of flesh were ripped from his chest. They reported hearing a sound like a large predator feasting. Despite there being nothing visible in the room
with the doctor.
Back in the main containment cell, SCP-4975 began to move. It was eating. It mimicked the action of leaning over a body, its beak snapping at the air, its throat bulging as it swallowed. The floor of its cell began to pool with blood that matched Dr. Thorne's DNA profile.
The feeding lasted for 8 minutes. When it was over, Dr. Thorne's remains were scattered across the observation suite. In the containment cell, SCP-4975 stood up, wiped its beak, and began to rotate its head once more. Click, click, click.
The anomaly is not the entity itself, but the relationship it forms with time and space. Even when the entity was placed in a vacuum, the victim still heard the clicking. This suggests that the sound is not acoustic. It is a temporal countdown.
The entity exists in 2 places at once, inside our containment and inside the future of the victim. It is a bridge between the present and the inevitable moment of the victim's death.
Perhaps the most disturbing discovery came during a recent autopsy. While the body was being examined, the medical examiner reported hearing a faint clicking coming from inside the victim's chest cavity. When the chest was opened, the clicking continued to echo for several hours after death.
We aren't just containing a monster. We are containing a predator that feeds on the very seconds we have left. If you are listening to this and you start to notice a rhythm, a steady, bone-deep tapping that follows you into your dreams, don't bother running. It doesn't matter where you are. It only matters that the clock is ticking, and eventually the clock will stop.
Containment is an illusion. Safety is a lie. The clicking is the only truth left. If you can still hear the world around you and not the grinding of those ancient vertebrae, consider yourself lucky. Your time is still your own. For now. Subscribe for more Foundation files.